Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy. We had a really great day today. Um, so, a few things that before we get started, I would like to say that I saw a lot of wonderful things and a lot of great teaching in the classroom or as I was doing some walkthroughs. So, I want to just give a quick hoo-yah to one of the teachers, and her name is Mrs. Stallion. And we really appreciate you, most definitely. We saw a lot of great things going on in her classroom. And at the end of the presentation, I'm going to allow her to stand up and go over a few things, go over a few pointers of what we saw today. So congratulations. So the purpose of this after-school PD is to go over a new design that I want to implement for this school year. And it's called the backwards design. If you come from McClung, then you know about the backwards design. And if you have not, this is the purpose of this PD. What I have done is I have given everyone this little packet to read over the weekend. And if you did not, I do understand. But just to give you some background knowledge on what is the backward design and why I think it's important and beneficial. It's written by a team called Understanding by Design by Grant Wiggins and Jay McTeague. I believe that's how you pronounce that. And it's within 3 easy steps, but I broke the steps down. And we'll talk more about that. So today's objective, what we're going to learn today is what is a traditional model as far as lesson planning. What is the backward design? We're going to watch a quick video. And on top of that, I'm going to actually walk you through the steps or the process. The introduction, time to complete is about 15 minutes. Difficulty level, everyone can do this. I believe everyone can do it. It's just a mind shift. It's getting your mind, prepared. But I don't think it is difficult. It's just a mind shift. The resources that I did use for this tutorial or PD is amazing. YouTube as well. Traditional model. So a traditional lesson plan model is all about the content. It's all about focusing on the content. So when we're lesson planning, majority or traditionally will say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm the teacher. I'm going to do this. Here are the materials I'm going to use, and here are the questions that I'm going to ask. Those are just examples. To give you a true example, in the article, it does give an example about the teacher focusing on or building their lesson over a book or a novel. So in there it says To Kill a Mockingbird. And then it says in there that you're choosing a specific instructional model to focus more on the novel. So what we're thinking is to maybe the mind shift of it all, of changing from a traditional model into a backwards design model. So, this is where the mind shift comes into play. And so I love 7 Habits of Happy Kids. And one of the habits in that great resource that our counselor is using is begin with the end in mind. Start planning. So that's why I have this road. Instead of us starting in the beginning of the road, we need to begin at the end of where we want to end. So I use this example. Everybody knows that I follow Dave Ramsey. I love Dave Ramsey. I truly believe in the steps, in the baby steps for financial peace. And one thing that he always says is if you want something, you have to prepare and you have to save for it. So he gives an example of Christmas, right? Christmas. He always says, it's no way to blow your budget because of Christmas. Christmas comes every year, same time of year. So if we begin with the end in mind, if we want $2,000 or $4,000 for Christmas, we need to start in January and start saving. So by the time Christmas gets here, by the time we start to begin to shop for our friends and family, we already have it. So I use that as a comparison of our lesson planning. We have to begin with the end in mind. So where do we want that? Where do we want the lesson to end? What are the results that this child needs to perform? And what are the expectations? So backwards design. It's all about, and I just said it, result-focused design. So it's about, here are the 3 steps. Identify the design, determine the acceptable evidence, plan learning experience and instruction. So you notice that your planning learning experience and instruction is considered your traditional. However, you're not starting with that last bullet. That's why I kept it last. You're not starting with that. You're actually starting with identifying your design of what you're going to use. So here's a quick video. Really, really quick. I'm going to quickly show it to you.
Imagine this. A group of friends decide to organise a day out. Katie is excited because she thinks a day at a folk festival would be perfect. Sam is excited because he sees everyone heading out of town for a long, peaceful bushwalk. And Sue is excited because she imagines the group visiting the snowfields and having their first ever ski lesson. The group arranges a meeting time, a place, then get busy with their own lives. On the appointed day, the 3 friends meet, pile into the car and set off. As time passes, Sam becomes grumpy because the group keeps driving past all of the exits to the best bushwalks. He wonders why he has his hiking boots on. A bit later, Sue becomes grumpy because Katie has turned off the highway away from the snowfields, and Sue is regretting putting her thermals on this morning. She wonders why she has been working so hard on her quads at the gym. An hour later, Katie pulls the car over and lets her friends know that she is lost. By the end of the day, none of the friends have achieved their goal. What if the 3 friends approach their day out differently? Katie, Sam and Sue get together to chat about what they would like to do. They decide on a common outcome for the day, plan what each will need to do to get ready, and what the group will do together to make sure the day out is a big success. As the weeks go past, the group talks often to make sure everyone is moving towards being able to participate in the day trip. Katie gets used to using contact lenses, while Sam buys a new wetsuit, and Sue speaks about working on her swimming skills. The group also plans what they will need to take, book the surf school, and organise how they will get to the beach. On the nominated day, the 3 friends meet, pile into the car, and set off. They reach the beach in time for their lesson and have a terrific day together. Backward design is like the second scenario. Teachers start unit planning with the end in mind. They consider the outcomes of a unit of work before mapping out how each individual student, and therefore the entire class, will get there. This way, the learning and teaching in the classroom gives every student the opportunity of reaching the final destination.
Okay, so that was just a quick video, and what I loved about the video is it gave you another example, just like my Dave Ramsey example. It's giving you another example over how to begin with the end in mind during your lesson planning. So the process I've kind of split. So the very first, step 1 and step 2 is basically identifying your desired results. So step 1, I will say go to leadforward.com. Step 2, click on resources. So that's right there by the yellow. What we're going to be focusing on is making sure that you go to grade 6. The 2 things that you're going to need is scaffold and your release test. And what your resources you want to click on, of course, is math. So math 4 is the example for today. Alright, so continue with the process. The process, step 3, go to your math under scaffold, which I showed you on the last slide. And then it says step 4, examine the standards and the goals. So step 4 is typically your step 1, identifying the desired results. So here are the results. Our results is we want these students to know the standards. Here are the goals. So 6.2, order a set of rational numbers. Oh, that's right in this time. So 6.2, a student applies mathematical process standards to represent and use rational numbers in a variety of forms. So that is what you want the student to know. That is your goal, that is your standard. So that's where we're going to start. We're starting with basically the standard. We can take it a step further, which we'll talk more about applying this to your objective. The next thing, step 3, go to math under released test. Here is a released test. One of the things that in the backwards design model is it explains to you to determine the acceptable evidence. Leap 4 gives you release tests, and they have questions to match that standard. I would say look at that and examine that and see if my teaching or my lesson matches this rigor. If it's lower, then we need to beef it up. If it's higher, it's great, but is it reaching the majority of the students? Or is it really reaching only a select few that's on that level? So it has to match. So before you begin to lesson plan, this is something that I want you to do. Examine the release test, and that's all about determining the acceptable evidence. One thing I love about step 4 is right here it says plan learning experience and instruction. Right there it has student learning report, and it has tools to know and ways to show. And I love the verbs in ways to show. You can provide this to each child, allow the child to map out their results or map their progress. In elementary, we used to call them, data in the lab or data in the folder, and allowing the students to do this. I know students can do this if kindergartners can point their process. Then most definitely 6th graders can too. So that is all that I have. If you have any questions, feel free. I always just put my number up there, but right down the hall. If you have any questions, feel free to come to me. Again, this is not just one boom, thank you ma'am. This is not that. This is something that we're going to be going over and reviewing and implementing, and I'm going to be providing support. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Email me if you cannot think of it now. If all else fails, then we're done. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.